The Utah Hockey Club has unveiled its colors, logos, and uniform designs for the upcoming 24-25 NHL season. Plus, the Ottawa Senators have started work on a new third jersey. This is an Icethetics Flash Report for June 15th. I'm Chris. Thanks for watching. On Thursday, it all became officially official. The National Hockey League and Smith Entertainment Group closed on the establishment of a new franchise, which will begin play this fall. With that news came our first official looks at the team's Season 1 identity. As we know, the team is currently engaged in a multi-phase process to develop its permanent brand, that is, a proper team name. They're down to 6 from an original roster of 20, but for the time being, they will be known simply as the Utah Hockey Club, the name we first heard from NHL Deputy Commissioner Bill Daley at the 2024 Draft Lottery in May.
The 6th overall selection in the 2024 NHL Draft will be the property of the Utah Hockey Club.
Now let's talk colors, which are rock black, said to represent the volcanic rock of Utah's deserts, salt white, in reference to Utah's famous salt flats, and mountain blue, intended to highlight Utah's winter sports environment and its almost year-round blue skies. The team says the overlap with the recently announced rebrand of the NBA's Utah Jazz, also owned by SEG, is no coincidence. They say this palette is intentionally complementary. The Jazz reintroduced sky blue as an accent color this year, but their primary color will become mountain purple. The Hockey Club is blending those two names, in a way, to get mountain blue. The team says these distinctive colors will establish the cornerstone of the club's brand as it evolves through the name selection process. I've seen this reported as the name may be temporary, but the colors are permanent. The team doesn't appear to be going that far in its own statement, but we'll see. I think these colors will be the basis for the full brand in 2025, but it wouldn't surprise me if they added, say, another accent color to fill out the new logo, whatever it may be. Keep in mind, these are the 6 names that are still under consideration by the team: Utah Blizzard, Mammoth, Outlaws, Venom, Yeti, and of course, Utah Hockey Club, should they ultimately decide to stick with where they're starting. By the way, if you want to vote, the survey is open until June 20th at NHLinutah.com. Now, it's easy to see how Blizzard, Mammoth, and Yeti could make use of these 3 colors. But with Outlaws or Venom, or any of them really, you'd kind of envision adding an additional accent color, maybe a burnt orange, or we could call it Canyon Red to keep the established naming convention. So I'm as eager as everyone else to see where they land on all of that. For now, employing these colors, the team revealed 5 official logo marks, which they say set the stage for future branding efforts. The designated primary logo is this, the roundel we first saw at the end of May after it showed up prematurely on NHL.com. Its colorway varies depending on the background. Over white, this is the base design. Over black, the inner circle becomes white for improved overall contrast. And over mountain blue, the entire circle becomes black beneath a blue Utah logo type in the center. The rest of the logos have also been seen already as part of the public filing with the United States Patent and Trademark Office earlier this month. This mark has been designated as a second primary logo. They say this design is approved for use on scoreboards, matchup graphics, event signage, and so on. Basically anywhere you don't need to remind people that this is a hockey club. It's the only one of the 5 logos without that text included. Like the main primary mark, the colorway differs based on the background. On black, the stripes go white for better contrast, and over blue, everything gets inverted. To be honest, I hoped that this would end up as a jersey crest. It feels like a center stripe design would have been a great fit for a team still in search of its identity and desiring a traditional look akin to the Montreal Canadiens. But we'll get to the actual jersey configuration in just a minute. Next is the secondary logo. This is a vertical word mark that amplifies Utah with a dual stripe pattern, which highlights the team's color palette. Like the others, it also has varying colorways. Over black, the Utah text takes on blue, while the black elements go to white. And this is the variation over mountain blue. The club has also designated a tertiary mark, which is shaped like the state of Utah. That unique shape makes this the only design with any distinct character. Over white and blue, the containing shape is black, with Utah in blue. Over black, those colors are inverted. Finally, there's the dedicated word mark. It utilizes the same Utah type design we see in each of the other marks, but the hockey club letter forms have been slightly elongated compared to the other versions. Presumably, this is to match proportions between the two different fonts, and it does work well. So, that is your Utah logo suite. Is it the most exciting brand in hockey? No, but given the insanely tight timeline, we had to know this is roughly where it would end up. It's easy to say that they should have had 6 months to create something worthwhile, from April 18th, when the deal was announced, to the start of the NHL season in mid-October. But there are so many reasons why that never could have worked. Foremost is merchandising in general, and Fanatics in particular. The Utah Hockey Club will want to have gear out to fans as soon as humanly possible. And there's no doubt the NHL and Fanatics have a big jersey rollout planned, which would be spoiled by the newest team being left out of it. So really, from the time of the April 18th deal, they were essentially on a 60-day clock to get something done. There's really no way a thoughtfully considered name, logo, and jersey could have been properly conceived in such a short span of time. So, speaking of jerseys, here is what they will wear for next season. And yes, technically it is our very first official look at a Fanatics NHL jersey. But of course it is based on the Adizero template from Adidas, as has been reported. I'll go into more detail on that in just a minute. For home games, Utah will wear a rock black jersey with salt white and mountain blue striping around the waist and sleeves. When they hit the road, it's a salt white jersey with mountain blue and rock black striping which does not mirror their home jersey. Personally, I like this bit of asymmetry, but I know there's a faction of hockey fans who prefer the more traditional mirrored designs. And even the collar treatments don't quite match across the two sweaters. What does match, however, is the crest. 4 big and bold letters spelling out Utah in a stair-step pattern. I expressed my disappointment that they opted against the Montreal-inspired center stripe, but they are still taking a page out of the original 6 book, with a style that will be quite familiar to the New York Rangers. And the team also confirmed they will only wear these 2 jerseys. No mountain blue alternate, unfortunately, at least not for the first season. But I wanted to return to the collars because this is where we get our first peek at what's changing under Fanatics. The template artwork shows the new Fanatics branded Authentic Pro tagging, and some fans have pointed to the lack of shoulder dimples here as proof that they will be absent from the new uniforms. However, if you look at the Adidas template used in recent years, there were no dimples there either. So while that doesn't make for great evidence, several people who have laid eyes on the new Fanatics jerseys have reported those dimples are indeed gone. They also say the NHL shield is rendered slightly differently from the Adidas version, though it maintains a textured metallic finish. And you'll notice here that so far, we've just been looking at flat digital renderings of these jerseys as opposed to any actual photos of them. Well, these jerseys are actually in production now. Utah owner Ryan Smith did give us a little teaser in the form of this rather smoky photo of a player in full Utah uniform. But even if we deploy some clever photo editing software to enhance the clarity of the image, we see that the designers have done a good job of masking certain details. But this makes me think we will not get a real look at the actual jersey until the league-wide pre-draft Fanatics reveal. But it's nice to know the jersey is out there and ready for action. The team did confirm that the new black jersey will be on hand for the team's first ever draft picks at the 2024 NHL Draft in Las Vegas later this month. One more item of note regarding the design work, the team did say it was the product of a collaboration with their New York-based design firm Doubleday and Cartwright, who will be developing their full brand identity for 2025 once a name has been selected. All right, I have one more bit of news to mention. On Wednesday, at the Ottawa Senators Spring Members Summit, an event for 1,000 or so invited guests and media, team executives talked about their plans for the future. Among them, the question of a third jersey was raised. The team's president said that while it can't happen for next season due to the Fanatics switchover, there is something in the works beyond that. Ian Mendez of The Athletic quoted him as saying, "There is a queue underway right now for the 25-26 season, and we're in the queue." The team president also said the new uniform will be red and is being targeted to launch in the fall of 2025, but added that tight timelines could potentially push it back up to a year. The Sens' first ever third jersey was a red one back in 1997, and that became their home uniform 2 years later. In 2007, with the debut of Reebok Edge, they introduced this red home jersey, and a decade later wore this design for the NHL 100 Classic outdoor game as part of the league's centennial celebration. That one was then used as a third jersey for 2 more seasons. And most recently, Ottawa wore this red reverse retro during the 2021 season. So will we see any of those old red jerseys make a return, or will the Sens come up with something entirely new? And that's all for now. Don't forget to leave a like on your way out if you enjoyed this video and subscribe to see more from Icethetics. Thanks again for watching, and see you next time.